of Education. I'd like to thank all of the candidates for being here so the community can hear their views. Special thanks to Dave and Brian at PCTV. Thanks also to Amy Thomas, Executive Director of Monroe County School Boards Association, who's serving as moderator this evening. I'll turn it over to Amy and we can begin.
Good evening. My name is Amy Thomas, and I'm the Executive Director of Monroe County School Boards Association. I'll be your moderator this evening. This year, the annual Penfield Central School District budget vote and school board election will be held on Tuesday, May 16th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Penfield High School West Gym, 25 High School Drive. This year, as Kathleen said, we have 3 candidates that are running for 2 seats. Our candidates in ballot order are Krista Can, Aaliyah Elamine Turner, and Dana Marr. Is both an honor and a responsibility. This community entrusts its school board with very important duties. Board members must provide for the education of the community's children. They must see that the property and finances of the district are properly managed, and they must ensure that the many laws governing education are followed. The community elects their school board members, their local officials who serve without pay and give hundreds of hours to their duties. So for that, I thank each one of you for your willingness to potentially serve your community in this elected role. Each minutes in ballot order, so Krista will start us off tonight, followed by Aaliyah and Dana. After that, I will ask questions that each candidate will take a turn to answer first. Answers should not exceed 2 minutes. When there are 30 seconds remaining in the candidate's allotted time, a yellow time is up, a red card will be shown. After the question, candidates will be able to make a closing statement of not more than 2 minutes. Those summations will be made in reverse order from the opening statements. So let's get on with it. We're going to start with our opening statements. So Krista, you go first.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Amy Thomas and Kathleen Zastro, for showing up and taking care of Leah and Dana. My name is Krista Can, and I am here to ask you, I would like to ask for your support for re-election on the board. I have been on the board for the last year, and it has been a very interesting and wonderful and diverse experience. I'm learning a lot, and I would like to learn more. So there's so many parts to public education, from education law to education finance to curriculum to mandates to laws. Like, there is so much to public education, and I'm really looking forward to continuing my journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. We'll move along to Aaliyah, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Aaliyah Elamine Turner. I was raised in Penfield. I started in Penfield, moving here with my family, and attended Penfield schools, starting in elementary and graduating from Penfield High School. Approximately 8 years, my husband and I moved back to Penfield to raise our children, and also ensure that they got a Penfield education. I'm here tonight because I understand the value of a Penfield education and understand the greatness that comes out of the Penfield School District. Still work to be done, and I understand that we need to be able to continue to grow and progress as a community, and so I'm here to ask that you support me and vote for me and elect me to be a board member, because I think that there's still a lot of work to be done to help us continue to advance and be the community that we all envision and imagine Penfield being.
Definitely in control early in the contest. Patty Daddy in trouble right now.
Well, I'll tell you what one of the keys is for Patty Daddy to create some space and maybe try to wear down Matic a little bit, but that's not working out with that shoulder block.
Yeah, trying to trade shoulder blocks with a guy like Matic is always a bad idea.
Oh my God.
And raised. Richard's family consists of his wife Jennifer, a teacher in Fairport, and their 2 fur babies, Savannah and Jackson. Please help me give a warm welcome to Kent Nguyen.
Thank you so much to Major James Stanford for the kind words. I appreciate it. I would like to first start off by extending my serious appreciation to the dignitaries that are here today, serving our community. Additionally, I would like to thank my mother, Ginny Nguyen, Webstertown Councilwoman, and my grandmother, Lone Nguyen, who is here today. Thank you for... Without both of you, I wouldn't be here. And to my sweet, beautiful wife, Jennifer Nguyen, an E&L teacher, English as a new language teacher at Brooks Hill Elementary in Fairport. I love you more. Thank you for being with me through this journey.
Feels so official. Okay. Can I have a motion to call the regular business meeting to order, please? Mike, so moved. Second? Second. Thank you. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. We'll stand for the pledge.
Good evening and welcome to the April 2023 meeting of the Penfield Historic Preservation Board. First item is the approval of the minutes from the March meeting. Any comments, corrections? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay. They consider them approved. Go to our first action item, which is the request for approval for an above-ground pool at 2059 5 Mile Line Road. Board members, you might remember from several years back, we did approve some improvements to the house. The house looks pretty good compared to what it was several years back. And this is an above-ground pool for behind it. Shannon, do you want to describe what they're trying to do?
Sure, yes. So I'm pulling up some photos for you guys. Okay, so they're looking to install an above-ground pool in the backyard. The pool is proposed to be 16 feet by 24 feet. I include here some photos for you guys for reference. And then the location is going to be pretty much in the center area of the backyard there. Here's a survey map so you can kind of see that it's next to the house but in the middle of the open yard, and the yard is already fenced in from the front. And I have some photos of the lot if you guys want to see them, but I did send them to you already.
Yes, from the ones that you sent, it seemed to me that with the fencing that's already in place, you're probably not going to be able to see much.
Yeah, that's my, yeah, here I'll pull up a photo so you guys can see. So this is a view from the road. So it is a 6-foot tall fence, so you most likely won't really be able to see it, if at all, from the road.
And they want to install the one that you had the picture of, with that's got the kind of the walkway all the way around.
Yeah, so this is from the brochure of the pool that they are looking to install. And they do need a building permit for this. I have already completed the site inspection, which passes, and everything that I can tell so far meets code requirements. So as soon as you guys approve a certificate of appropriateness, we will go ahead with the building permit.
Any comments from the board, concerns about it?
While we all know that pools are not a historic feature, I think it is what it is, and I don't think it takes away from the house in any way. And I think it's fine. You know, these are the kind of things that people want. They will. obviously this house is taken care of. And I just don't, I mean, again, I know it's not a historic feature, but at the same time, it doesn't detract from the house being the historic feature. So I'm in favor.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, was that a motion, Don?
That is a motion. How about that?
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
And a second? Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it seems to be unanimous, so that's our go-ahead, Shannon, to complete the work with the homeowner.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, next we just have a couple of informational items that have sort of been standing items now for a while, the Clark House and the Clark Road Barn.
It's about money. My guest is Tricia Delano. She is the author of the children's book, No Dog in My Yard.
We tape with Mr. Feeney, and I'm clear off the deck, and then maybe next week or the week after we can line something up with Mr. Feeney and do another show from his house again, get him incorporated back in the show as much as possible. I do want to, last week I know I brought up a matter which what is that, an award ceremony at the middle school, and I was talking about 3 vice principals, which kind of blew me away at the school at different grade levels. And Mrs. Kemen's response, and I believe I forgot to mention, and shame on me, but as I reflect back on the show, that my daughter, well, the reason I was there is because my daughter Emerson received an award, I think they call it second honors. It's when your grades are A and B, I believe. And the first honors is when you're an all A student. And I believe my daughter missed the first honors by one class, and she got a B in that. And by day, it's an award, and you take it. It's a good performance.
watch his audition. He does this audition, and I say, you can hear me off camera going like, how did you know how to do that? Because he was so on. He just knew that part, like so instinctively from the beginning. So I didn't really know Kelly's. And then the next weird thing was,
Well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Living United with Nashua Business. This show is all about exposing you to business leaders from our community who are involved in the act of philanthropy. Organizations that are using the good work they do to give back to the community beyond the business services and products they offer to make our community stronger, smarter, safer, healthier, and happier. So I'm here today in the studio with my good friend Ash Samuel from CrossNet Inc. Ash, I wanted to thank you and welcome you to the show today.
Thank you, Mike. Dr. Sarah Klaus. Dr. Klaus is here today. So this is a very exciting time for us, and I am absolutely thrilled that she
Welcome, welcome. Hello, Mr. Daniel.
How are you?
I am fabulous. Did you like that? What have you been up to lately? I think, I forgot her name.
Hannah.
Henna.
Depends how you want to pronounce it.
Okay, you're in Boston or not? I know you've been crazy busy with those lovely dogs, but I know along the way you've got a couple of cases waiting.
I have two left, by the way. 2 puppies left if anyone's interested.
Forgot her name.
Hannah.
Okay, you're in Boston or not? I know you've been crazy busy with those lovely dogs. Way you've got a couple of cases waiting.
I have left if anyone's interested.
2? That's it?
That's it. Out of 7.
Holy cow!
So don't miss your opportunity on a premium German Shepherd.
Oh, they are beautiful. We'll have to get some pictures and put them up. They're so cute. So
Appliance for another episode of Wicked Good Food. I'm your host, Matt Williams, and today it's all about onions. The onion family is a huge family with a whole bunch of different things that we use all the time. You know, my inspiration for doing this today was all the chives I have grown in my backyard. There's tons of chives. Actually, we're putting an addition on the back of the house, and our whole backyard is dug up, and pretty much the only thing growing right now is chives. And they're all over the place. And chives are these little, tiny, hollow onions. We're going to cook with those a little bit. We're going to make a cracker, a sour cream and chive cracker. We're going to use this leek here, which we're going to work on in just a minute, and we are going to make a caramelized leek with some other onions in there. Tart. We're going to use a red onion. We're going to make a quick pickled red onion, and we're going to use some shallots and make a shallot vinaigrette. And this is a great little thing on salad or on some vegetables you're going to grill or whatever.
And it can't be stopped. No, automobiles are.
Automobiles are a useless nuisance.
What did you say, George?
I said all automobiles were a nuisance. They'll never amount to anything but a nuisance. They never had no business to be invented.
You forget, George, that Mr. Morgan makes them and also did his share in inventing them. If you weren't so thoughtless, he might think you rather offensive.
Oh, that would be too bad. I don't think I could survive that. George.
Well, I'm not so sure that George is wrong about automobiles. With all their speed forward, they may be a step backward in civilization. That is, in spiritual civilization. It may be that they will not add to the beauty of the world, nor to the life of men's souls. It may be that perhaps George is right, and that the spiritual 10 or 20 years from now, if we could see the inward change in men by that time, I shouldn't be able to defend the gasoline engine, but would have to agree with George that automobiles had no business to be invented. Well, Fred, I'm afraid it's getting late, and I have an appointment with my foreman, so I better be getting along.
Oh, but Gene!
Eugene! No, good night. Don't bother to take me to the door. I'll find my way out.
Good night, Eugene.
Yes, good night, Gene. Good night.
George, dear, what did you mean?
Just what I said.
You hurt him, George.
He didn't sound very hurt to me. Sounded pretty cheerful, if you ask me. What made you think he was hurt?
I know him. Why, he must think that
Well, I don't care much for what Mr. Morgan thinks. I suppose he's trying to borrow money from you, Uncle Fred, for that automobile factory of his,
No, George. I think Eugene Morgan's perfectly able to finance his own inventions these days.
George, what made you say that?
Well, he just strikes me as that sort of a man, that's all. Anyway, I want to know what he's hanging around here for anyway.
By Jove, George, you are a puzzle.
In what way? I'd like to know.
Well, it's a new style of courting a pretty girl for a fellow to go deliberately out of his way to try and make an enemy of her father. That's a new way to win a woman, that is.
Is there anything wrong, Isabel? You've been so quiet all afternoon.
Nothing, Eugene. It's this weather. The end of summer.
It's been a very happy summer for me.
A few more weeks and you'll be gone.
There'll be other summers, Isabel.
Time changes things, Eugene. And once they're changed, you can't bring them back. Things are like smoke. You know how a wreath of smoke goes up from a chimney? You see it getting thinner and thinner, and then in such a little while it isn't there at all. Nothing is left but the sky. And the sky keeps on being just the same forever.
Things won't change for you, Isabel. You'll always have me and George.
It's George that's troubling me, Eugene. Why doesn't he like you? He doesn't have any reason. He says so himself.
Well, boys can't help their likes and dislikes, Isabel. I think perhaps he sensed from the first that I care a great deal about you, even when I was so careful not even to show you how immensely I did care.
Gene, I can't believe that.
Well, someday he'll have to know how we feel about each other. And I think it should come from you that he learns that.
Oh, why, Eugene?
Well, it's only fair to George. And much better that he should hear it from you than from someone else, through gossip maybe?
Oh, I know you're right, Eugene, and I will tell him. I tried to tell him last night, only... Oh, Eugene, it's so hard. Let me wait until just before he goes back to school.
No. Sooner, Isabel. Sooner. For all of our sakes. Sooner.
Oh, but it's such a few days until he leaves. Surely a few days can't make any difference.
Uncle Fred! Uncle Fred!
Good gracious, Georgie, what's up?
I've got to talk to you.
Say, what's happened to your face?
Just forget about it. I've been in a fight, but I have heard what people are saying.
Saying about what? For heaven's sakes, if you're going to talk, be coherent.
The whole town is talking about my mother and that man Morgan. They say my mother is going to marry him and that proves she was too fond of him before my father died. Everybody in town knows about it but me.
Heavens. Is that what you're so excited about? Why do you listen to stuff like that?
I'm glad I did listen. I have a right to know. Did you know it? Did you?
Georgie, you can be sure there's been more gossip in this place about the Amberson family than any other family. You see, the more prominent you are, the more gossip there is about you, and the more people would like to pull you down. But they can't do it as long as you refuse to listen. The minute you notice it, it's got ya.
Is that all you've got to say?
That's about all there is to say, Georgie. There's nothing to be done about it.
Do you propose to sit there and let this riffraff bandy my mother's good name about? Is that what you propose to do? Didn't you understand me when I told you that people are saying my mother means to marry this man?
I understood you.
And you think if such an unspeakable marriage took place, it'd, make people believe that they've been wrong in saying... Do you know what they say?
I don't believe it would. There'd be more badness in the bad mouths and more silliness in the silly mouths. But it wouldn't hurt Isabel and Eugene if they decided to marry.
Good heavens, you speak of it so calmly.
Why shouldn't they marry if they want to? It's their own affair.
Why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they?
I don't see anything precisely monstrous about two people getting married when they're both free and care about each other. What's the matter with marrying?
It would be monstrous. Monstrous even if this horrible scandal hadn't happened. But now, in the face of all this, that you can sit there and even speak of it, your own sister.
For heaven's sakes, don't be so theatrical. Come back here.
What is it?
Don't you speak to your mother about this.
I don't... I'm going to do something about it, and you see if I don't.
Oh, it's you, George. How do you do? I believe. If you'd be so kind as to send her word that I'm here.
No.
I beg your pardon. I said...
I heard you, Mr. Morgan, that you had an engagement with my mother. I told you no.
Well, just what is the difficulty?
My mother will have no interest in knowing that you came here for her today or any other day.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
I doubt if I can make it much plainer, but I will try. You're not wanted in this house, Mr. Morgan, now or at any other time. Perhaps you'll understand this.
Will bring this to you, dear Isabel. He's waiting while I write. He and I have talked things over, and before he gives this to you, he'll tell you what has happened. I should have been better prepared for what took place today. I ought to have known it was coming. A week ago, I thought the time had come when I could ask you to marry me, and you were dear enough to tell me sometime it might come to that. Well, you and I, left to ourselves, wouldn't pay much attention to things like slander or talk. But now we're faced with not the slander and our own fear of it, because we haven't any, but someone else's fear of it, your son's. And that frightens me. Let me explain a little. I don't think he'll change. At 21 or 22, so many things appear solid and permanent and terrible, which 40 sees are nothing but disappearing miasma. 40 can't tell 20 about this. That's the pity of it. 20 can only find out by getting to be 40. And so we come to this, dear. Will you live your life your own way or George's way? Dear, it breaks my heart for you. But what you have to oppose now in your son is the history of your own selfless and perfect motherhood. Are you strong enough, Isabel? Can you make the fight? I promise that if you will take heart for it, you will find so quickly that it has all amounted to nothing. You shall have happiness, and in a little while, only happiness. I'm saying too much for wisdom, I fear. But oh, my dear, won't you be strong? Such a little short strength it would need. Don't strike my life down twice, dear. This time, I've not deserved it. Eugene.